Good. So the first use case I'm going to show you is the smartDevelop used during the development process, and in this case as the hard process to check a developer or to check the development work at the point of time of task release. So I'm quickly creating a test case here. Just give me a second. So what I've done here, actually this is now the situation. As a developer, I've finished coding a piece of code. In this case here it is a normal report. Let me open that for a second. So you see it's a normal report. We implemented that for one of the tickets. Normal data part, procedural part. So he has finished that, and now he wants to release the task. And here you see what happens. This is the ABAP components I have talked about, which are sitting in the development system, and they are actually now intercepting this release here. And as you see, I get this screen here from smartDevelop, and actually as a developer I have different options, and let me explain that. You have here the submit to smartDevelop, we have the release button and the cancel button. I'm logged in now as a manager. A manager has a different role compared to a developer. Therefore, I, as a manager, would be able to bypass this check here and do a direct release. If I were logged in as a developer, I could only submit it to smartDevelop or cancel it. Another nice feature what you see here is only review latest changes for all objects. This is because of a requirement of our customers. What you normally, when you do, for example, code maintenance of some old coding which sits since 30 years in your system, you would maybe not want to check the complete object or the overall object, but just check the changed lines of code for the standard compliance. So if you tick that, you would actually only check these added or changed lines of code. But in this case, assume I'm a developer, I'm finished, and I submit to smartDevelop. And actually what happens now is, actually these ABAP components, which I have mentioned, they collect everything which they need for the check and this request. So you see here this task has been sent to smartDevelop successfully, and there's a request number created 4948. So these ABAP components gather everything they need, send it to the backend. There we do the parsing, we apply all the transformation rules, and then send the rules back. What you also see here, you will receive a work item in inbox with results. So the whole thing is integrated in workflow. And as you see, when I click that, this request is already processed. In general, the whole thing is implemented asynchronous. So the developer gets not blocked by the request, even if it would take longer than what you have seen here. So express work item, smartDevelop results for request 4948 received. I go to my inbox, and in the inbox I will see the inbox item. So here, this is the latest request 4948. I do a double click on that. And here we go. We see the results screen for this one object. This results screen always looks the same. So you have a request details header, which is something like some background information. You have the request number, requester, status, date and time, and things like that. Then in this middle section, you have listed all the objects which were checked in this request. In our case now, we only checked this one report, so you only see this one report here. What you also get here is the total of numbers of issues identified in the objects, which is a 30 overall, and they are segregated into different severity levels. So 1 is a hard error, 14 are warnings, 11 information. 1 is a manual issue and manual information. This means for these 4 issues here, the tool has no automatic fix. For all the others, the tool has an automatic fix available. At the end, you as a customer, you can define the severity of these issue levels here. So we have some customers who, for example, have actually changed the severity of our performance rules, all of them to hard errors. And actually at the end, what is the effect of that? A developer who has a hard error in one of his developments is not able to release the task. So, but this, as I said, this is configurable. You can either have very light standards implemented or very strong standards implemented. So this is all, this is a normal grid. You can sort, and down here in the last section of the screen you see the detailed issues. So you always get here the code snippet so that you directly see where the issue sits. So for example, here is the authority check statement is missing. You also see what's the tool action, so this is an information only. Others with replace are replacing something. There's a unique identifier for the issue type. So missing authority check statement has the issue number 151 and so on and so forth. What you also see is when you click on that here, you get an online help. So this is I think a nice feature. You can just read, okay, what's wrong here. You get a short description of the issue, and you also get a code example of what the transformation is doing. So what did we find here in this object? So missing authority check, that's a security rule, obvious. So for example here, semantics of table statement is ambiguous. It's obsolete table statement. So we applied some prefixes to types, so wrong naming conventions. Again, an obsolete statement occurs using type instead of like. Obsolete statement, here is a lot of prefixes to variables. Type again, here is explicit typing of form parameters to have a better runtime stability. Obsolete statement, let me see, and here is something interesting. Use of field symbols instead of explicit word address or header lines. This is one of our performance rules, which actually changed the performance, and so on and so forth. And down here, you all know that there's a hard error. This is the use of non-GUI, non-Unicode compliant GUI upload download. So this looks like a normal analysis, but what you also see here is these buttons with the before after. And this is the real magic, the real power of the tool. The tool is not only checking here, it already has in the background done an automatic transformation. So you can either look per issue or for the complete object. Just look, for example, here at the GUI upload download. If I click on that before after comparison, actually we again use the normal SAP environment, so the split screen area editor, and on the left side you see the call function WS download, and on the right side you also see here how it was replaced. So replaced with the CLGUI front-end services and all the required changes. You also see some of these comments here, so end-of-line comments and full-line comments. Actually, these, you will see that in a second, you can delete these comments when you store a new version of the object. So don't worry, we are not messing your code up with a lot of comments. Okay, so that's the principle. You have the checking for the coding issues, and then you have the automated code corrections which you can review. And I think that's nice because as a developer you also get, first you get the help and you also get the support during fixing that stuff, but also you will rapidly learn how to code in a different and in a better way. So till now, all what we have done is still in temporary objects, so we did not really change versions here. But now, after the developer has gone through all these fixes and has reviewed them, we also give him the opportunity to accept these changes. So he goes to accept, process selected objects, and here comes the pop-up. smartDevelop review comments, so you can remove these comments which were added in the source code. Continue, and now the tool is writing a new version of the code. And if I look into my task again, it's a previous task, my program, and I double click on the program, you will see that the code has changed. So here's still this header line comment in there, which tells you that we have been in there and the rules which have been applied. But for example, if I go down here to the GUI upload download, you will see that this has changed. And this here was only an easy fix. The tool can do pretty complex fixes. As we have a parser integrated here, we can also, for example, delete an occur statement, or as I mentioned, delete a hard-coded literal by using a constant interface, renaming variables and stuff like that. So this can be pretty complex at the end. So this is one way of using the tool. I just quickly, at the end of this demo, I just want to show you a second way. This is the manager front end. So this is actually pretty much working like a shopping basket. You, as a development manager or team lead, you can select your objects you want to check, for example, during the code review. So you have different categories, like you can check complete requests or tasks, or program names, function groups, by owner, package, and so on and so forth. So for example, let me check here a function group. I select that, and actually the tool will give me the function group plus all the function modules, and now I can start to build my analysis request. So for example, I don't want to check the complete function group, I just want to check these three here, so I add them to my request. They go down here, and now these I can submit to smartDevelop. Also, one nice thing you see here at the right is we also integrated a version comparison, so you can compare objects between development, QA, and prod to actually prevent from having wrong versions sent to production. So let us quickly, I prepared a request here for the demo, so to show you actually how this looks like. So imagine we have done this this request here. So I select one, and here you see actually how the results look like. This was also a request which was checking several function modules here, and you get this result screen with the total number of issues, the different number of hard errors, warnings, information. You can directly go into the detailed results. So for example, for this function module, I can go into the detailed results. This is a little other representation. I see I have infos and warnings in here. You see the different categories. And again, I can really also drill down to the source code level and the before-after comparison of the code. What you can also do from this screen here is assign the whole object to a developer. So you have checked that as a manager, and now you want to get it fixed by your developer. So you would design it, and the developer would receive an inbox work item with the request to fix the stuff. And he himself then can use smartDevelop again for this. Okay, good. So this was a real quick run through